And now I got this movie, Mausoleum, and it's cost me $1 million, right? Because I put most of the money up. I go see two guys, Golan and Globus at the time. They had Canon Films. They had their offices in New York. They were distributors. So I go and see them in New York, and I show them the film. They watched it. And I said, you want to distribute it? They said, yeah. I said, how much will you give me? They said, we'll give you 25 grand. I said, I don't think you heard me right. I told you I have $1 million in the film. They said, no, we heard you right. Hey everyone, welcome to another Sit Down with Michael Franzese. Hope everybody is doing well. What are we going to do today? You know, I get asked all the time about, was the mob really involved in the entertainment business, in the movie business, so to speak? And, you know, the answer to that is yes. We weren't big players in that business, but we certainly were involved. We're involved with certain actors, producers. We put some money up at certain times. You know, the whole Godfather story with Joey Colombo's involvement in that to a degree. And there's a lot of others. And obviously, like I said, there was actors that we knew. But I have my own story, and I'm going to relate it to you, how I got involved in the business. And I was actually involved at a fairly big level back in my day. And I'll tell you quickly how it happened. Jerry Zimmerman, a name that you know, he was a guy in my crew. Jerry had gotten in some trouble with another made guy. I had a big sit down over him. They wanted to kill him. I saved his life. And anyway, I didn't trust the way this thing worked out, even though, you know, it was working out in our favor. I didn't trust the guy I was sitting down with. So I told Jerry to go out to California. I said, go out there. You got a brother out there. He's in the car business. Go out to California. So he goes out. And he makes this movie eventually called Mausoleum. It was a horror movie. And he didn't know anything about films, and this was in the early 80s. And he called me up one day and he says, Mike, you know, we're going to be in the movie business. I got a script. I got a director. We're going to put people together. He said, send me $83,000 and you're my partner. The budget was 250 grand. I said, okay, hey, you know, I had some money. I threw it around at that time. So I threw him the $83,000. P.S. $1 million later, that's what it ended up costing me. We come up with this movie called Mausoleum. And I've said in the past, it was a horror movie, but it didn't scare anybody but me, at least back then, with the amount of money that we put into it. Anyway, during the production of the movie, I get a call from a guy at a talent agency, International Creative Management, ICM. His name was Jack Gilardi, and he was an agent there. Jack was out of Chicago. He calls me up. He says, Michael, my name is Jack Gilardi. He said, I'd like to meet you next time you come out to California. It's pretty important. And I said, sure, Jack, no problem. I said, next time I'm out there, I'll give you a call. I'm kind of thinking, why is this agent calling me? Jerry's out there doing a movie. I know he's a schemer. There must be something up, right? He started something out on the West Coast. So maybe a week or two later, I told Jerry I'm coming out for a visit. So I go out. I said, this guy, Jack Gilardi, you know him? And Jerry starts ranting and raving to me about Jack Gilardi. I said, all right, save it. Don't tell me anything on the telephone. When I get out there, fill me in. So I go out. He picks me up from the airport. And I said, what's this all about? We had a plan to meet Jack Gilardi at Westwood Marquis Hotel in Westwood, California, right? So on the way over, he's telling me what happened. Jack actually provided some of the talent for him. You know, Marjo Gortner, he was a fairly known star back then. Bobby Brzee, I think, played it, a couple others. Anyway, he's telling me the story that Jack wants his commission and that he wasn't entitled to his commission, and Jerry's doing the normal Jerry thing because he was a schemer, right? I said, all right, let me see where this ends up. So we get into the lobby of the hotel. I meet Jack, very nice guy. By the way, Jack, very famous agent. He was once married to Annette Funicello. Remember? Mickey Mouse Club, Annette Funicello. I actually had a crush on her when I was a kid. Anyway, they had been separated at that point, but he was married to her for quite some time. So we sit down, and there's Jerry, there's Jack, here's me, and I'm listening. I said, tell me what happened. So first, Jerry starts ranting and raving about how Jack, you know, didn't treat him right, and the commission he was paying him was too much, and on and on and on and on. I don't remember the exact details. And then Jack tells me his side of the story, right? And so I'm listening, and obviously Jack was right. He was a talent agent. He was providing talent to Jerry. Jerry wanted to beat him because that's who Jerry was. He never liked to pay anybody. You know, Jerry had a saying, Any money that's in your pocket really belongs in my pocket. I just got to figure out how to get it from you. That was Jerry's motto. Anyway, so I knew right off the bat that Jerry must have pulled something on this guy. He was right, and that's it. So after I heard everything, and it was only maybe 20, 25 grand. It wasn't a lot of money. I looked at Jerry and I said, pay him. That's it. Done deal. It's over. That's the result. Pay the guy. From that point on, Jack Gilardi and I became very, very good friends. Jack was actually my agent. He represented me on a bunch of deals, and we were fast friends for 40 years until he passed away a few years back. And, you know, as a result of my friendship with him, we put a lot of deals together. Just a really good guy. But I got Jerry on the side, and Jerry said to me, Michael, I don't understand. You know, I'm with you. I said, Jerry, I said, first of all, you're wrong. You're 100% wrong. I said, second of all, you want to be in the movie business. The first movie you produce, you come out here, you beat the guy from a major talent agency. I said, word's going to spread like wildfire. You'll never get another agent to represent another film that you do ever again. Why would you come out and beat the guy right off the bat? I said, this is the problem with you. Everything is short term. It's from one scheme to another. If we're going to be in this business, that's it. You don't beat anybody out here. So let me tell you the results. So he pays him the money, and now I got this movie, Mausoleum, and it's cost me $1 million, right? Because I put most of the money up. I go see two guys, Golan and Globus at the time. They had Canon Films. They had their offices in New York. They were distributors. So I go and see them in New York, and I show them the film. They watched it. And I said, you want to distribute it? They said, yeah. I said, how much will you give me? They said, we'll give you 25 grand. I said, I don't think you heard me right. I told you I have $1 million in the film. They said, no, we heard you right. We'll give you 25 grand, and then we'll see what happens after that. Obviously, I didn't make the deal. But what I realized at that point in time, sometimes you learn on the job. It's like on-the-job training. I realized that back then, the movie business was all about distribution. If you didn't have a distributor for your product, you had nothing. I don't care how much money you put in it didn't matter. You always had to have distribution. So what did I do at that point? I went and bought a distribution company, Motion Picture Marketing. Paid $500,000 for it. I bought the company and I distributed the film myself, and we ended up making quite a bit of money. And from that point on, I started to produce other films. We produced about 30 films altogether. Savage Streets with Linda Blair, Gates of Hell, a lot of exploitation films at that time. I went on to make the movie Knights of the City. I'm sure you all heard about it. That's the one that I actually did finance with gas tax money. Ended up getting in trouble over it, but long story short, we're not going to get into that. It worked out all right for me also at that point. But anyway, sometimes, you know, you learn as you go. Now, I'll be honest with you, I made a mistake sending Jerry all that money. I shouldn't have done it without doing my research, but I had other things going on at that time, and I trusted him for whatever reason I had. But sometimes you got to pivot in the middle and realize, you know what, I made a mistake. How do I salvage this thing? So right away, after I got the turn down or the $25,000 offer from Golan and Globus and Canon Films, which by the way was a huge production distribution company at that point in time, I kind of realized at that point in time what I had to do in order to be successful in that business. So sometimes you learn on the job. You make a mistake. I had a failure with that film, but I turned it into a win. Sometimes you got to think, you know, you got to be quick on your feet. You got to realize that you don't take the first offer. You know, you go and you research a little bit more and you find out what's the right way to go. That's what I did at this point in time. It ended up being my start in the movie business, and I had a pretty good run at it. So that's it. That was kind of like Jerry goes to Hollywood, drags Michael along with him. I get beat in the interim, but I end up winning at the end of the day. So that's my Hollywood story, one of many, but we're only going to do one today. That's it for today. MichaelFranzese.com. I'm telling you, the crew, the inner circle is growing in leaps and bounds. The Zoom calls, the content that we're putting in, the courses that we're providing, good stuff. We see this really reaching into the thousands of members. That's how it's growing. So jump on board. You're going to love the experience. My crew, MichaelFranzese.com. You either get into the crew, the inner circle, it's up to you. But both experiences, I guarantee, are going to be beneficial to you. Subscribe. You know, you guys keep coming on every month. We're growing, and you get information first. You get the alerts. So subscribe. We appreciate it, and we work hard to give you good content. Thank you for enjoying it. Again, you have a lot of options on YouTube. Thank you for picking mine. That's it for today. How do I always leave you? Same way, very consistent. Be safe. Be healthy. God bless all of you and your families. And yes, I'll see you next time.